Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome. Today's topic is the 1883 Cleveland Blues NL MLB baseball season. Again, the Cleveland Blues were playing in the National League, the senior circuit, and they were playing at Kennard Street Park. That had been their home field for some time. Now, the 1883 Cleveland Blues had a pretty good year, actually a strong year. They finished in fourth place with a record of 55-42. 13 games over 500, nothing to sneeze at. Solid year, very good year. Their team was coming together, they were gelling. The winning percentage was .567, very good. They were 7.5 games out of first place behind the first place Boston Bean Eaters, who won the title, won the pennant in 1883 with a record of 63-35. The second place team was the Chicago White Stockings, who were 59-39. Third place, the Providence Grays from Providence, Rhode Island, 58-40. And then, of course, in fourth place, the Cleveland Blues with a record of 55-42. Fifth place, the Buffalo Bisons, 49-45. Sixth place, the New York Gothams, 46-50. In seventh place, the Detroit Wolverines, 40-58. And in eighth and last place, the Philadelphia Quakers, who were 17-81. So they had a tough year. Now, an interesting thing happened in 1883. A pitcher for the Providence Grays, Charles Radbourn, they called him Old Hoss Radbourn. He threw a no-hitter against Cleveland. And what's really notable is Radbourn the following year, in 1884, as a pitcher, won 59 games. And that remains an MLB record for a pitcher. And I don't think it'll ever be broken. 1884, Old Hoss Radbourn, really something. Now, 1883 was, according to a Cleveland sports writer, there was daffiness in 1883. There were all kinds of strange games being played. Some of the games, there was a traveling all-Chinese players, both two teams, all Chinese. They traveled the country. There were African-American teams that had male and females playing mixed with each other. There were teams of amputees. Very strange. Now, these were probably Civil War veterans. So there were a lot of guys from the Civil War who had lost an arm or a leg. There were teams that had old men over 60 and boys under 20 playing against each other. There were all Indian teams. And there were 6 teams that claimed the Negro baseball title: Philadelphia, Washington, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. So that would be something to research. Haven't found anything about a Cleveland Negro League championship team in 1883. So, now we had a new manager in 1883, Frank Bancroft, and he was a full-time manager. He did not play. Bancroft was from Lancaster, Massachusetts. He died in Cincinnati, Ohio, in 1921 at age 74. He managed 719 MLB games. His record was .375 and .333, winning percentage of .530. He managed the Worcester, Massachusetts Worcesters, the Detroit Wolverines, Cleveland Blues, Providence Grays, Philadelphia Athletics, Indianapolis Hoosiers, and Cincinnati Reds between 1880 and 1902. He won a title for the 1884 Providence Grays at 84-28, winning percentage of .750. Again, that's when Old Hoss Radbourn won 59 games, set the record. His stops with teams were short and usually interim, and he had not played Major League Baseball himself, although I'm sure he played growing up, played sandlot baseball. Frank Bancroft, our fearless leader in 1883. We had a new catcher in 1883 with the Blues, Doc Bushong. Bushong hit .172, 5 doubles, and 9 RBIs. Bushong was from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He died in Brooklyn, New York in 1908 at age 51. His career average was .214, 13 home runs, and 184 RBIs. Bushong played for the Brooklyn Athletics, Philadelphia Athletics, Worcester Ruby Legs, Cleveland Blues, St. Louis Browns, and Brooklyn Bridegrooms between 1875 and 1890. He won titles in 1885 and 1887 with the St. Louis Browns, and in 1889 with the Brooklyn Bridegrooms. He also worked as an umpire and a dentist, and sources have credited him with the invention of the catcher's mitt. In 1886, he won that title with, who was it? Well, he won a title in 1886, and the reward that he received came from the Missouri Pacific Railroad, and they renamed one of their whistle stops Weeks, Kansas was renamed Bouchon, Kansas by this railroad company. One of the stops on the railroad. So that was the reward that he received. In 1887, he was one of the first players who were paid for an endorsement. The company was Merrill's Penetrating Oil, a cold medicine at the time. And again, the belief is that he invented the catcher's mitt because he was planning to become a dentist after his playing career, and he wanted to protect his hands, which he needed. He needed to do dental work. And he had a very successful dentistry career. He died of cancer at age 51. He's buried in the Holy Cross Cemetery in Brooklyn, New York. Doc Bouchon. Bill Phillips was back at first base. Phillips had a tremendous year, hit .246, 29 doubles, 8 triples, 2 home runs, and 40 RBIs. Fred Dunlap returned at second base. Dunlap had an incredible year. He's a real star of 1883. He hit .326, 34 doubles, 2 triples, 4 home runs, and 37 RBIs. Jack Glasscock, again, was our star shortstop. Glasscock hit .287, 19 doubles, 6 triples, 0 home runs, and 40 RBIs. Mike Muldoon was our third baseman. Muldoon hit .228 with 22 doubles, really good, 3 triples, 0 home runs, and 29 RBIs. Now the outfield included Pete Hoteling, who hit .259, 20 doubles, 8 triples, 0 home runs, and 30 RBIs. We had a new outfielder, Tom York, who hit .260, 29 doubles, 5 triples, 2 home runs, and 46 RBIs. Tom York was a left fielder. He's from Brooklyn, New York. He died in New York City in 1936 at age 85. His career average was .274 with 1,095 hits. Wow, he had some career. 743 runs. He played for the Powhatan of Brooklyn, the Troy Haymakers, Baltimore Canaries, Philadelphia White Stockings, Hartford Dark Blues, Providence Grays, and Baltimore Orioles between 1869 and 1885. With the Providence Grays for 2 years, he was player manager, and in 1878 he led the National League in total bases, extra base hits, and triples. In 1879, he won a title with the Providence Grays, and in 1883 with the Blues, this year we're talking about, he led the league in walks, and he's buried in Holy Cross Cemetery in Brooklyn, New York. Tom York, our fine outfielder. Jake Evans was another new outfielder. Evans hit .238, 13 doubles, 2 triples, 0 home runs, and 31 RBIs. Evans was a right fielder from Baltimore, Maryland. He died in Baltimore in 1907 at age 50. His career average was .238, 1 home run, 168 RBIs. Evans played for the Troy Trojans, Worcester Ruby Legs, Cleveland Blues, and Baltimore Orioles. Between 1879 and 1885, he was 5 foot 8 inches, 154 pounds, good defensive outfielder, had a very strong throwing arm. In 1882, he led the league in assists. And with the Cleveland Blues in 1883, it was said, quote, "Give Jake plenty of pie, a comfortable siesta, and his favorite Hundine cigar, and he'll play right, second to none." So, Jake Evans. In 1884, his right arm popped out of the socket making a throw, and he spent the rest of the year with a fitted rubber cap on his arm to keep it from popping back out. He's buried in a Baltimore cemetery. As a pitcher, that year, he pitched in 1 game through 3 innings, did not allow a run. Jake Evans. Fatty Buryatia was a bench player in 1883. He hit .234, 5 doubles, a triple, 0 home runs, 11 RBIs in 40 games. Bill Crowley was a new guy, hit .293, 5 doubles, 5 RBIs in 11 games. Crowley was an outfielder from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He died in Gloucester, New Jersey in 1891 at age 34. Died young. Career average of .263, 540 hits, 225 RBIs. Played for the Philadelphia White Stockings, Louisville Grays, Buffalo Bisons, Boston Red Caps, Philadelphia Athletics, Cleveland Blues, Boston Beaneaters, and Buffalo Bisons between 1875 and 1885. He died of Bright's disease at age 34. It was we call it now nephritis, a kidney disease. Very sad. He's buried at St. Mary's Cemetery in Belmar, New Jersey. Bill Crowley. George Bradley was a bench player in 1883. Bradley hit .313, 1 triple, 1 RBI in 4 games. Charlie Cady was a new guy, hit a batting average of .000 in 3 games. He had 11 at-bats, did not get a hit, had a walk and 5 strikeouts. Cady was a pitcher outfielder from Chicago, Illinois. He died in Chicago in 1909 at age 44. His record as a pitcher was 3-2 with a 3.77 ERA and 20 strikeouts. He played for the Cleveland Blues, Chicago Browns, Pittsburgh Stogies, and Kansas City Cowboys in 1883 and 1884. So a brief career. As a hitter, he batted .059. And as a pitcher, he pitched in 5 games, had 5 complete games, and a 7.88 ERA for his career. Now, in 1883 with the Blues, he pitched in 1 game, had a complete game, 8 innings pitched, and allowed 7 runs. Charlie Cady. Cal Broughton was another new bench player. Hit 200 in 4 games, 12 at-bats, 2 hits, and RBI. Broughton was a catcher from Magnolia, Wisconsin. He died in Evansville, Wisconsin in 1939 at age 78. Career average of .189, 0 home runs, 3 RBIs. He played for the Cleveland Blues, Baltimore Orioles, Milwaukee Brewers, St. Louis Browns, New York Metropolitans, and Detroit Wolverines from 1883 to 1888. After his retirement as a baseball player, he was the first police chief for Evansville, Wisconsin. He captured a group of train robbers after a gunfight. He captured Evansville's first automobile thieves. In 1889, in the minors, with the St. Paul Apostles, the Sporting Life wrote this about Cal Broughton, quote, "People have got so used to seeing Cal Broughton catch game after game without a skip that his fine work is often lost sight of. Where, oh where would some of St. Paul's pitchers be now if they hadn't had Cal's head back of the plate?" The St. Paul Daily Globe in 1889 wrote this, quote, "Broughton is a great coach for a young pitcher, and it takes a pretty fleet-footed runner to steal second base on him. He refuses to get rattled under any circumstances and is always a prince of good humor." In 1890, he was in the minors playing for the Seattle Hustlers. In 1895, he purchased a billiards parlor in Evansville, Wisconsin. And in that 1900 train robbery arrest, the guys he arrested escaped from jail, and the 2 robbers were found hiding in a cornfield. Cal Broughton had a very interesting life. Okay, now the pitching staff, Jim McCormick, again, was our ace pitcher. McCormick, as a hitter, hit .236. He had 2 doubles, 2 triples, 13 RBIs in 14 games. As a pitcher, McCormick went 28-12 with an ERA of 1.84. Wow, he had a good year. 43 games, 41 starts, 36 complete games, 1 shutout, and a save. And he pitched through 342 innings pitched. The second pitcher was Hugh Daly. As a hitter, Daly hit .127, 1 double, and 5 RBIs. As a pitcher, his record was 23-19 with an ERA of 2.42, 45 games, 43 starts, 40 complete games, 4 shutouts, and a save. Daly was born in Ireland in 1847. His death details are unknown. He was last confirmed alive in 1923 at age 76. His record as a pitcher for his career was 73-87 with a 2.92 ERA, 846 strikeouts. He pitched for the Buffalo Bisons, Cleveland Blues, Chicago Browns, Washington Nationals, St. Louis Maroons, and Chicago Blues between 1882 and 1887. In 1883, he had a no-hitter on September 13th for the Blues, so the year we're talking about, against Philadelphia. In 1884, he led the league in strikeouts. He had 483 strikeouts, which is a record, and 19 strikeouts in one game. They called him One-Arm Daly. He had a surly disposition, but was a fan favorite. He threw 2 consecutive one-hitters in his career. In 1883 and 1884, he won 20 games each year. They called him One-Arm Daly. He lost his left hand in a gun accident. So he only had one hand. He had a special pad over the stump. And so when the catcher would throw the ball back to him, he would trap the ball between his hand and the stump. And in long games, the stump became sensitive. And one time he punched a catcher who did not heed his warning to throw the ball softer. So Daly was considered surly, had a volatile temper, mean, contemptuous, and uncommunicative. These were things that were said about him. However, he was popular. He was known for his verbal tirades against umpires. He didn't like their calls, ball strike calls. In 1883, he led the league in walks with 99. And at that time, you had to have there were 7 balls for a walk. And in 1884, he threw 4 one-hitters. Will Daly. Hugh Daly, sorry about that. Hugh One-Arm Daly. Will Sawyer was another pitcher. Sawyer, as a hitter, hit .021. He had 3 hits in 17 games. As a pitcher, he was 4-10 with a 2.36 ERA, 15 starts, 15 complete games. Sawyer was from Brimfield, Ohio. He died in Kent, Ohio in 1936 at age 71. He pitched in the minors in 1884 for Grand Rapids. And then he was a student at Western Reserve University in Cleveland from 1880 to 1883. Will Sawyer. And finally, Lem Hunter was another pitcher. As a hitter, he batted .250, 1 hit, 4 at-bats in 1 game. As a pitcher, his record had no decisions and an ERA of 1.42. 1 game and pitched 6 1/3 innings. Hunter was a pitcher outfielder from Warren, Ohio. He died in West Lafayette, Ohio in 1956 at age 93. And his MLB career consisted of the Cleveland Blues, that one year, this year, 1883, and just pitching in 1 game on September 1st. So the 1883 Cleveland Blues gave the baseball fans in Cleveland something to cheer about. They were a team that was developing. Had a very good year. Year to be proud of. God bless the fellows who played for the Cleveland Blues in 1883 and everyone else associated with the team, including the fans, especially the Civil War veterans. Captains of the Cuyahoga, lovers of Lake Erie, Terminal Tower Power, fans of the Free Stamp statue and the Fountain of Eternal Life. Tribe Browns and Cavs rule, Cleveland, City of Champions. Cleveland is the best location in the nation on the north coast of America. New York is the Big Apple. Cleveland is a plum. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.